Hello, good evening. It feels like it's been a long time, but welcome back to the Mostly Ballin podcast. I'm Ben, your host, and tonight I promised you a special guest. Ovisoko has to wait, so we've gone for the next best. It's Egg. He's back. Egg, hello, you're back.
Hello. It feels weird sitting here and not presenting, but it's also quite a nice break. And it does feel weird to be back on the podcast that I used to do every week as a guest,
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah. I mean, well,
Yeah, we'll go into that. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's good to have you back. We've missed you. I've been on my own doing a couple of episodes and yeah, taking a break, but we're back and it has been a full time in British basketball. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of movement to say the least in the past couple of weeks. Um, Gladiators have a new head coach in the name of Robbie Pears, um, a former Knicks head coach. Uh, Manchester Women have announced a new head coach. Who used to play for them as well, whose name has slipped my mind, but I will come back to that in a sec. And today, the latest news, just to get all the big news out of the way, the Cheshire Phoenix have parted ways with Cam Christon and Tajai Teague, and their club statement reads that they are working really hard to find replacements and to get going again. So really, that kind of sums up the latest news. My phone's been going off all day on socials and Twitter, and people saying what people are saying. Um, so it's nice to just sit down and have a relax, have you back, and you know, yeah,
have me back.
yeah, yeah. We've
God,
missed you.
you must have been desperate if you want been pining after me to come back. Um, yes, it has been a full day of news. In the world of British basketball. My time is kind of now split between basketball on the other side of the world in America and British basketball. And there's been more news in British basketball in the last 24 hours than has happened in America. And I didn't think that was possible. Um,
It has been an awful lot. I
and that is
probably missed a
include
lot as well.
that's including college football as well, which I also cover now. So I kind of feel like I've kind of stepped back into British basketball in the last 24 hours into thinking it was all calm now that everything has kind of died down on the financial front and all of the crap we went through the summer, to then just have everything just hit you all at once, and then
Yeah,
you'd be
well,
like, "Oh, this is happened at Knicks, which was supposed to be the source of all calmness in the world of British basketball."
yeah, well, I can promise you, it's anything but calm. The SLB has really kicked off in style. A lot of entertainment, a lot of stories, drama. Um, Anything but boring, to say the least. And I'd say, yeah, today, news that probably wasn't going to be expected to come out has come out. So, I mean, I'm not going to take up the whole show talking about the Knicks. We'll see what happens and who comes in.
Ooh, man.
But today we could probably talk about the trophy. I mean, I know for yourself you've not watched a whole lot of league action, but you have said you've watched the Bristol games over the weekend.
To fill in out for full disclosure, I have watched a lot of Bristol games,
Okay,
and
yeah,
they are my local club now. Obviously,
yeah,
Raiders are my club and always will be.
yeah.
I've watched a lot of Flyers games. I watched the two over the weekend, and then I watched the European game as well. Um, the two cup games I thought were a great advert for British basketball, and I did remember saying to you, I kind of wish that, no disrespect to Leicester and to Newcastle, I kind of wish that was the final, because I thought that would have been a great advert for new fans who
Yeah.
potentially, or people who kind of like myself, coming back to top flight basketball. Hopefully, whoever the Flyers play, Eagles or Riders, will be just as good as Knicks were when they put on a show. But yeah, I thought it was really good. Other than that, I've kind of not really watched a lot of the cup action or the trophy or anything really. It's kind of been a bit patchy with having 101 other things to do. But so just talk me through what have I missed, I suppose, is the best thing. I've seen that Manchester are bottom, London are top, and everyone else
London,
is in between.
London are no longer top.
Oh, London no longer top. Okay, so no,
London are
London
no
did
longer
go top
top.
for a little while.
I have taken screenshots so that I could fill you in with everything because it's been a while. Um, I've so we've I will fill you in with the women's. I'll fill you in with the men's. Um, we'll cover it all. Guess who is top? I'll give you a guess.
Sharks.
Sharks are top.
I did know that actually. In fairness, well, as soon as I said London were top, I was like, no, I don't think they are anymore.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, no, London are slipped the second with two defeats. Yeah, Sharks are back on top. Fair play. We've said it an awful lot. The league is very much open this season. And it's just gone to show, Cheshire, for example, was sat in second, five games, uh, lost in a row, slipped down to six, out of the trophy. Um, you know, Gladiators have picked up a win under their new coach. Um, so it's been an exciting season. Uh, I'm sure for plenty of fans. Um, but yeah, so constant movement up and down the SLB league table. Bristol have made history by cementing the place in the final. They now
Okay.
wait for Leicester and Newcastle, who don't actually play their second leg until the 22nd. So that's what,
You
12
won the
days
first
away.
leg. You won the first leg of that one.
Let me. I had it. Um, it was
I
a
have.
close one. It was a close one. I think it might have been Leicester, but I don't want to get fact wrong.
No, it was Eagles. Eagles won 95-91.
That's
Apologies.
that's the
I did
one.
have the score right in front of me.
That's the one.
Um,
So, yeah, all to play for. Yeah.
and
And
this weekend coming up, is it? Yeah, this weekend coming up, the cup starts as well, which I'm kind of really excited about.
the,
Obviously, being a little bit of an NBL background as well.
yeah, I mean that's going to be a good one. Obviously, as you said, with NBL teams in the mix, with two Scottish teams in the mix as well.
Yeah.
Um, it's gonna, I think, again be another great advertisement for um British hoops in general. I have been looking for that one, and obviously, for me, again, I keep referring to the Knicks as they're my team. Um, the trophy was going to be a chance for silverware. It's not anymore. I think the cup could be another chance. Um, they head off to Nottingham on Saturday. Um, so as we're talking about the cup, I'll be honest, there's no real uh, proper agenda for tonight. So we'll jump into the cup and have a look at the fixtures coming up. So on Saturday, um, Derby play the 89ers at 7:30. So that'll be a good one. I think Derby are on good form as well. So that could be, I think with the way that the NBL have been going, um, we could see some upsets, and I'm all for that. I am 100% all for that. Derby would play the 89ers. Hemel Storm will play Manchester again. Probably another potential for an upset to an SLB side. Nottingham face Phoenix at 7. So three games at 7:30 on Saturday in the SLB Cup. On Sunday, just the one game with Reading Rockets taking on the Sheffield Sharks, and that is at 4 o'clock.
And there is
Uh,
some on Friday as well. Essex Rebels host Bristol Flyers. St Mirren host London Lions. That is a long old trek for Lions.
oh, right, okay.
And Falkirk Fury host Leicester Riders. All those games start at between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, but none of them are on broadcastable, which is really frustrating as well for like somebody who's in the NBL sort of.
That is another talking point. I completely missed those ones. I do apologize. But that is another talking point that people have brought up on socials is that the league have announced that teams that don't have the sort of best facilities, I don't know how to word it correctly, but not all games will be broadcasted, but results will obviously be shown and things. But it's one of those.
It's frustrating because they announced it, and then but 24 hours prior to that,
Yeah,
Essex Rebels had streamed a game. Reading basically stream 90% of their home games. It's not the best, but they do stream a lot of their games.
yeah,
I'm sure Nottingham and Derby would be able to get the facilities they need to. if they were encouraged to, or they were kind of helped along. Southampton, when Raiders played there in the National Trophy, they streamed their game.
Yeah.
Um, Southampton's a bit different because they got it's with the university. So, but I'm sure there's means and ways of doing it. It's just slightly frustrating that we've got these games that are supposed to highlight British basketball. And we spoke about this in the summer about NBL and everybody kind of coming together, and it kind of not a bit disjointed. So I'd be a bit frustrated if it's all if any of the NBL teams get into the next round and then it's announced that they can't stream it again and they're hosting
Yeah.
home games, that it's like, well, what's what we're trying to do here.
I I think yeah, as I say, if it gets to that point, then there'll probably be growing frustrations again.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, as I say, it's a good picture to have the teams in, but then when you
yeah.
can't watch them, it's one of those where okay, well, it's good news that they're there, but we can't see how they play. So it's and but again, teams do have the means to do it. But the league have come out and said that not all games will be broadcasted. Um,
I think I'm quite happy to give this new league, yes, the Super League, a little bit of slack. But if in
yeah,
12 months' time it's told that these teams don't have that facility, then I think that maybe people are kind of a bit more entitled to be a bit more annoyed.
yeah.
Um,
I
but
think
it
that was always going to be the case, wasn't it? Heading into a new season with such the sort of short turnaround,
yeah,
in reality, with what it was, it wasn't the best turnaround. Um, and as we said in the summer, we're lucky to have a league. We're grateful we've got one. And we've kind of just got to ride through this season, with it going ahead. So I think yeah, cutting a bit of slack and people having that understanding. There's going to be sort of platforms keeping updates on the games. I for one will be keeping an eye and making sure that our viewers, get the updates that they need. Um, so
and I'm going to make a prediction now. I think there will be three upsets from the NBL. I think three of the NBL sides may beat the SLB sides. I think Derby will beat 89ers.
mhm,
No disrespect, 89ers. I think that Derby are a really good team. I think with all the turmoil you've had this week, I think Nottingham may pull off an upset, but Nottingham are only won three league games all season and near the bottom of
yeah,
sorry, they've only won two, so they're 2-8 at the minute. They're second bottom of D1.
yeah,
Um, and who was the other one I thought? Oh, Reading against Sharks.
yeah,
Reading are currently sat third. Really good team. They've got quite a lot of former BBL experience in there. The only other team that and Hemel play Manchester actually. Sorry, so I think I think it'll be Nottingham, Reading, and Hemel. I think will be the ones that'll win.
yeah. I could probably fully agree with you too. I got no arguments there. I think we're set up nicely to see some great games of basketball. And to definitely see some upsets. And to be honest, I welcome it. As hopefully it doesn't happen with Nottingham and the Phoenix. But I welcome an upset because as I say, it makes for great games. It showcases the NBL very, very well, as well as obviously the SLB. But we saw it a few seasons ago when the NBL were
Yeah,
part of the trophy and the cup. Teams were getting to the semis, before getting knocked out. In the NBL side of things. So they're going to perform well. There's high expectations I think to be had on the team. So I'm very much excited for it. Um,
I think in a few years' time, I kind of hope that when the SLB or the Super League kind of grows and has the same amount of teams as D1, D1 has currently got 13 teams, that we see all 13 D1 teams can be in it,
yeah, yeah,
and it can kind of be like a full on, like we could have group stages and we do some bit, they could maybe do something a bit more with it. But at the minute, with having 13 and 9,
yeah,
and with some of the NBL clubs kind of their facilities kind of probably wouldn't meet the demand from
yeah,
away fans, local fans, and their fans that go week in week out. So I kind of get why they've done it, but
yeah,
um, I think the only frustrating thing is that the City of Birmingham Rockets aren't in it because they've got a lot of really good good talent on that team, guys that we've had previously on this show we've interviewed, and Bristol Hurricanes as well. I've got a lot of former
Yeah,
BBL talent as well, and they're going really well. That's a prize package in D1. So,
yeah,
but then don't need a prize package if they at the start of the season. If they put them in, they may not be the prize package. So I'm really excited for it. It's, as we said, it's a shame it's not on telly.
hmm
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I think three upsets is my prediction. No disrespect to any of those fan bases.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of my prediction.
Fair enough. And I got no complaints, so I'll match you with that one and say, yeah, I think that those would have been my pick as well. So I think you've as an unusual guest, you've made a good prediction there. So yeah,
Would have been an unusual guess. That's a bit harsh. Also, shout out to the Scottish teams as well.
yeah,
No disrespect to you guys. I don't know. Think that if the draw had been kinder, then maybe you guys could have pulled off in quotation marks the upset. But it
hmm
would also be nice to kind of see there's some Welsh teams in our league. So if there's some Welsh teams that kind of move up through the pyramid, Cardiff are in D2 at the minute. Hopefully,
yeah,
some Welsh teams can be added, or there's Welsh teams from the Welsh leagues
yeah.
can be added. Ireland and Northern Ireland is probably a bit more difficult with flights because we had enough of that for the last few years. So hopefully, it's a competition that does grow as well.
I
From
for one
my end,
would love to see some Welsh teams. As you know, I'm a Welshman, so I for one would love it.
our game against Cardiff, I say our game, Raiders game against Cardiff, Met was called off last weekend. So I am going to our game in Cardiff hopefully.
I'll have to join you. I'll have to join you. You'll have to let us know.
Yeah, there's no dates been set yet, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'm going to go to that one, the away one, because it's not too far from here.
brilliant.
Yeah,
No,
I
great.
keep wanting to go into presenter mode, and I'm realizing that I'm the guest. So off you go, Ben. I'm going to sit quiet.
No, I can tell that your brain's still ticking to go, okay, on to the next thing. But on that note, on to the next thing. So we've kind of had a brief sum up of how the league table for the men is going. We've talked about the trophy. Bristol are now waiting for their opponent. Um, I'd like to say just because they beat us, I'd like to say Bristol will go all the way and take it, but I don't know.
Right, so before we move on from the trophy, Bristol put their tickets on sale.
They
I know
are,
tickets
yeah.
are on sale, but I'm assuming the allocation tickets are the same price as the other ones. But they are expecting the the final two sell out. So if you're a fan of a neutral team, I would recommend probably getting your tickets now.
Yeah. I was contemplating. I wasn't sure whether I would go regardless or um if the Knicks would have gone, I would have gone. But I've kind of been and then sort of how my recent weeks have been going away from basketball. I thought traveling is a bit too risky for me at the minute, so I'm not going to go, but I'll be watching it for sure.
If
Um,
it had fallen a week later, I probably would have gone, regardless of who was in it. But
yeah, yeah,
with it being still in January, it's a bit, and with other commitments within basketball and other sports is a bit difficult at the minute. But hopefully, it is still on my bucket list to get to, and I'm going to start getting about a bit more to other games.
100%. I've said it a few seasons now in a row. But I really really want to be intentional about traveling. And I had a meeting with a Knicks fan a couple of weeks ago. We were discussing something and we were talking about arenas we wanted to visit. And as soon as I started listing, he was like, "You've listed a third of the league," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I have." I was like this and this. I was like three teams in, but that's the third of the league. So I was like, yeah, I'll just visit everyone eventually. But yeah, and we'll see how that goes. But moving on because we've only been together for like 10 minutes and we're rambling. So
It's like
as
old times.
as the old times, yeah. Who doesn't miss? Well, I can't get that sentence out. I miss it. We'll go with that. I'll
Yeah.
simplify it. On to the women's trophy. That has now concluded, and it is more history as the Caledonia Gladiators saw off the Sheffield Hatters to cement their place in a final. So congratulations to the Caledonia Gladiators. They won 68-62 in the most recent leg. Um, to get there, and they will face the Oakland Wolves, who saw off the Essex Rebels,
And
99-68.
and it's Oakland's first major final as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really small club. I think they may only move. If I get this wrong, people please do correct me. But I think they've only moved up to the top flight very in the last few years as well. So
Yeah.
it's great to see that that's kind of two. I want to say smaller teams because that sounds patronising, but two teams that don't normally get those days out.
Yeah.
I know that Gladiators obviously played in Europe, but obviously for Oakland, it's massive. So
Yeah.
congratulations to them and good luck in the final.
100%. And I got to be honest, fair play to you being here tonight because I've forgotten a few key things and you've been there to go, oh, don't forget this. But yeah,
Still got my finger on the pulse.
yeah, yeah. Petition to have you back, eh? Would you be opposed?
Nice. Oh no, that's not. I was trying to find the Women's Super League website. I still can't find it. The last time I was
Oh,
on this show, I couldn't find it. I'll let you read out.
that's okay. Oh, are we still on the Women's Super League teams? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, is that game
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same date as the men's? Is it? Is they doing back to back again?
Yeah,
That's my
yeah,
question.
it'll all be as far as I'll just confirm it again, but they tend to have sort of an early afternoon and then a later afternoon game.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, again 12 o'clock for the women's um is what I've got written down. Again, apologies if it's wrong, it's just the app I'm using. And then for the men's, um the fixture shows 5:30. Oh no, sorry, that's the Riders and Eagles game. That's a 5:30 tip off. The final hasn't yet been drawn because there's no winner of the second leg.
it is.
But
It is.
it's usually the
It's on the
women's.
same day.
Yeah, it's the women's game is usually first, and then it's the men's game to conclude the day. So brilliant day out as someone who's been to finals in both the trophy and obviously the playoffs last year. I went to fantastic day for a family outing just to get an experience of a sporting event. Um, it's something that British basketball does very very well with sort of pre-game entertainment, halftime entertainment. Um, the ceremonies are absolutely fantastic. Um, Food is always there. There's merchandise. So, even if you're a fan local to Bristol or local to Leicester or Newcastle, whoever's going, have the day in Birmingham. It's kind of in the middle. So, um, definitely go for it. I would if I could. Um, it's going to be an enjoyable day, no doubt. The teams this year have really performed well. Um, Congratulations as well to Mark Stoutel, who picked up Coach of the Month most recently. He's got his side going really well. Again, they had a few changes, um, so it's good to see them getting up and running and really upsetting teams. They upsetted us just the other week, so well done, Newcastle. Um, so again, we've talked about the trophy, we've talked about the men's league, talked about the women's trophy. Now we will discuss the Women's League. As I've said before, Manchester have seen a change. Their assistant coach from the team, who was under Krumesh Patel, has stepped up to take charge. That is Rianne Bailey. I have now got her name. So she is now taking charge and will be at the helm for the Leicester game. Hopefully, having seen this news today, I'm not late. I don't think I am. But knowing me, it'd be typical for me to be late onto that.
They play Leicester on Saturday at 6 o'clock.
There you go then. I'm not late. Thank you, Egg. Points to Egg. Um, let's get the table. Have you seen the table of late, or is this going to be another
I
surprise?
just I just have. I've seen that Sheffield are top and Oakland are second. I managed to find my way onto the website now.
Yeah,
It's only taken me a little while.
yeah,
Nottingham Wildcats, who are the team I adopted a little while ago, are down near the bottom, but I'm sure they'll put a charge on eventually. Come on, Wildcats.
yeah. Yeah, so as I said, Sheffield and Oakland are the only teams unbeaten, going 5-0 and 4-0 respectively. Manchester were another unbeaten team, but obviously they had a bit of a dip, um, and the changes have been made. London again, are yet to pick up a win. They're 0-5. So that losing streak continues for them. Um, Hopefully that changes. As they again, we spoke about it loads in the summer, but for um the sort of whole London organisation, it was a tough summer. Um, so for them, I really hope it changes. Just to for their fans to see some winning basketball. Obviously the men's team, a lot of people probably wrote off, but they're performing pretty well. Coach Bosic has had a good rebuild and getting a lot of good stuff out of his guys. But yeah, Caledonia, who have made the final in the women's, sat at seventh, 2-3 in 5 games. Um, Cardiff, come on, make the playoffs. Sat at 10th. I really want a Welsh team to do good. I'm desperate, please. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the Sheffield, Oaklands, Manchester, Durham, Leicester, Newcastle, Caledonia, Essex at eighth, so they're kind of in the last spot of playoffs, and then Nottingham, Cardiff, and London. So that is the women's table. Christmas is coming up as well, so obviously there'll be a bit of a break for teams. They'll get to have that time, and then things could always change. I'm telling myself that for the men's league as well.
The Super League seems to be the same as NBL. I don't know if they're still carrying on. I don't think they are in the men's side in the Super League, but their last games are the 22nd,
Yeah, yeah.
which
So
is Gladiators. Gladiators play Leicester at 2 p.m., which is quite nice. That's
yeah,
not silly times.
I know that we've got the derby around the 22nd, I think. Um,
Which one? You've
in
got
Man
about six of them.
Sorry,
You've got about six derbies, in you? Because you've got the Sharks, you've got Manchester, Glads.
Manchester's the one. Yeah,
I suppose if you've got St Helens as well, I suppose in there somewhere, haven't you really, if you ever play them in the cup.
yeah. But no.
London.
So yeah, we've got Manchester on the 22nd, and then we play on the 29th. So we've got quite a nice gap between Christmas and Boxing Day, which is nice for teams. Um, as the so we'll go through the men's table. We didn't go through it in full. Um, Sheffield and Caledonia were the only team to play on Friday, as it was cup action. Um, and Sheffield came out victorious. As things stand, we've said that Sheffield sit top and London are second. Newcastle aren't too far behind in third, Leicester in fourth, Bristol in fifth, Cheshire in sixth, Surrey in seventh, Caledonia move up to eighth, um, move up or yeah, and Manchester in ninth with no wins yet. Um, I'm sure they'll pick up something at some point, 100%. Um, that's kind of we haven't covered the NBL. That's usually your job.
And I'm back. It feels good to cover the NBL in all,
Yeah.
all of its glory.
I mean,
So the NBL D1,
yeah, I was gonna say, would you like to take this?
I've already started. You hadn't got much choice really. I just thought it's like
Carry
you know,
on, carry
it's,
on.
it's, it's like a comfortable shoe. Like you winter coat, you put it back on again. You're like, oh, I've not worn
Yeah,
this in a while.
yeah.
So NBL D1 is amazing as always. The NBL is amazing as always. D1 men, Hemel are currently 9-0, not lost a game. Um, they're still the force that they were last season. Derby is 7-3, which is great. They've got a new coach. Did retain quite a number of their players, I think, in the summer. Reading are also 7-3. Loughborough Riders are 6-3. They're fourth. Bristol Hurricanes, who signed a plethora of ex-Patriots and Raiders players based from down here. They're quite ideally suited as well, I think, for kind of getting talent around them and stuff. They're fifth. They're 5-4. As that stands, they would currently make a playoff place in their first season in D1. They were wrote off to kind of be relegated, to go straight back down again. Probably the smallest club, one of the smallest clubs in D1, with their resources. Obviously, Bristol kind of has been Flyers territory, and obviously because the Flyers have been going so well over the last few years. But it's great to see another kind of West Country team doing well. Essex Rebels are sixth. There was a lot of issues around Essex and worries amongst their fans. I know we received some DMs, so it's
Hmm.
great to see them sixth as well, sat in a playoff spot. Thames Valley Cavaliers are seventh. Kind of steadied the ship a little bit. There was kind of not issues, but they've kind of under new ownership, haven't they? And people like that have come into the club. Birmingham are 5-5. I wouldn't be surprised if Birmingham make a late charge as well. MK, who everyone tipped to kind of be doing to win the league, have struggled a little bit, but they have lost a lot of their talent. Kind of moved up to the I keep want to say BBL, the top flight.
Yeah.
They're ninth. Newcastle Knights, who were formerly Newcastle Uni, 10th. They're 3-6. Come on, Logan. Newcastle obviously a bit hamstrung with the fact that they're a university, so they can only have guys that go to the uni there. So they've kind of don't say fallen away, but they were really good last year.
Yeah.
And guys obviously come and go. Their turnover is massive. Worthing 11th, Nottingham are 12th, and Bradford are 13th, currently winless. Again, Bradford lost a lot of guys as well in the summer. Um, so hopefully Bradford can kind of get it together. But there's still all to play for in D1. D1 women, I'm going to give you three guesses, Ben. Who's top of D1 women?
Ipswich.
The all-conquering Ipswich. The Ipswich that I said may struggle in the summer are currently absolutely killing it again. They're 7-3. Cola are 7-2 in
I
second.
I said Ipswich with such doubt that I don't know why.
Yeah,
I'm relieved.
Ipswich and Cola are by far and away the two
Yeah.
best teams in this league at the minute.
Yeah.
Um, Brent Bulls, who signed really well, are 6-2. Actually, there's a lot of teams on 6 wins. Loughborough Riders are on 6-3. Angela Ruskin is 6-4, and then Manchester Mystics are 5-5, and Bristol Academy Flyers are 5-5. So
Very close, eh?
a couple wins you could go from seventh to first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just behind them is Thames Valley Cavaliers, who have got 4 wins. Com Cobras, who have been promoted this season into this league, have got 4 wins. Worcester are 10th. They've got 3 wins. They've just been promoted. Reading, who last year kind of did a similar thing and then shot up through the league, are 11th. They've got 1-8. Barking Abbey are 1-7 as well. Barking, I think, were also promoted into this league in the summer. I think there was a couple. There was 3 teams were promoted for some reason. That's all of D1. The reason I've not been on the podcast quite a lot is and been doing a lot of stuff is because I've been doing stuff with Raiders. I write for the paper and stuff. So I'm just going to show some light because this summer was pretty awful for local basketball in the southwest. I think is kind of um, the best way of putting it. Patriots. Obviously, we've got no top flight basketball here in Devon now that the Patriots are gone. Obviously, we lost the Raiders a few years ago with Drew. Um, it's not nice for a sport. I've said this previously. It's not nice to not have something that we've had here in Devon specifically since 2006, I think it was. The Raiders joined the BBL. But to show how that basketball is alive and kicking, Raiders played Patriots. And it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there was 500 people there. And there was only 500 people there because Raiders had to stop selling tickets because they couldn't. I don't think they could get any more seats, and because they weren't sure how many more people were going to buy tickets.
Hmm.
From what I can gather, they probably could have sold another 200 or 300 tickets.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of Patriots fans there, and it was a really good game. Raiders won, so we got the bragging rights for a few more months. But Raiders have been selling out every home game, basically 500, 400 have been there. Raiders have been getting a couple hundred, I think, there as well. Um, we also played. We were supposed to play Portsmouth. That game was postponed because Portsmouth were in the cup. We played Gloucester, stepped in the last night short notice.
Yeah.
Um, Gloucester are a phenomenally really good, really, really, really good team. They could play 2 or 3 leagues higher than they are. Raiders got the win, but they were made to work for it. Gloucester in the league below. Firmly believe that Gloucester will be promoted from that league into D3 and will probably hopefully shoot up for the leagues. Exeter, who are local to me, are doing really well. Cornwall are in the Conference League as well, which is the league that's been formed under the D3.
Hmm.
Oxford are in our league. Bath are in our league. Obviously, we said about Bristol Hurricanes. The Flyers are doing really well. So basketball in the southwest of England on the men's and women's side. Patriots are in NBL D2, Flyers are at D1. I'm sure that there'll be some sort of there's other teams I've forgotten as well. So basketball is alive and kicking here in the southwest just because we're not in the top flight anymore. Like it's still a sport that is very much happening.
Yeah.
Um, it's just really crap that we haven't got any top flight basketball outside of Bristol, which is kind of why I've been watching Bristol quite a bit because.
Right
But
now.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
although we're not in the limelight like this, the sport is still alive. It's still very much thriving down here in the most unlikely of places.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and that's I've not been on the pod because I've obviously been at Raiders and it's my club and I'm very passionate about Raiders and I'm wanting basketball to do well in the Southwest. So that's kind of
Yeah.
my party message that kind of go out and watch your NBL club.
Yeah.
If you're in London, if you're in like you are, Ben, kind of go out and watch your NBL club. We've also got a really good wheelchair teams here. I know, Ben, that you've been doing stuff with the Otters as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. Absolutely. There's so much, and that's definitely a message. I think everyone who tunes in, please take note of that, and take to that. Get to your local team, you know, even if it's just a non-competitive league, just go and watch some hoops, support the community. There's loads around by me, and I don't do it enough. There's absolutely loads. Um, and I am planning a trip down to the Devon way. So Egg, watch out.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to Ellesmere Port. Um,
There's not you can come watch the Phoenix. That's about, and then you can go home. That's about it up here.
we're saying that Raiders have only played 4 games because our games keep getting like moved and postponed from outside of no one's control, outside
Yeah.
of teams we're playing. It's just, but yeah, it's good. We've Portsmouth are currently 7-0 in our league, and they are so good. They had one player who came and put up 42 points in one game, and it's
Oh wow.
like
Okay.
the standard of basketball is like scary. Like
Yeah.
it's really good. Like Raiders have went to Bath, Bath won. Bath are phenomenally good. We've got Brighton Bears, who used to be in the BBL in our league. We've got Surrey 89ers, their development team, who are really good. But yeah, Portsmouth are a team to keep an eye on.
Great. I'll definitely be keeping an eye. Um, I feel like well, I'd say quite smoothly, in good old Egg and Ben fashion, we've covered a lot. We've looked at every league. We've looked at all the teams. Um, so really, I don't feel like there's too much left to talk about. However, what I am going to ask, because I mean, hopefully we see you again soon, but I'm not sure when we will see you again on the podcast.
I'll be
Um,
back.
what I am going to ask is, what's one prediction you've got for 2025 in British basketball? Dun dun dun.
I think that as long as we have a quiet and as long as people are watching the sport and are
Yeah,
talking about the sport and not all of the crap we were talking about for the last few years,
yeah,
there are no predictions needed to be made. I think that's a positive. Um, yeah, as long as there's basketball, that's a positive. I'm not gonna jinx Raiders being promoted, but Raiders being promoted would be lovely.
yeah.
But as long as there's a Plymouth Raiders, I'm happy about that. So yeah, as long as people talk about British basketball, that's my prediction for 2025.
Nice. Yeah,
Oh,
that's.
actually,
Oh, go on.
Booman back in Super League.
Ooh,
I've got no insider information. I just want to see Antonio
okay.
Williams back playing on these shores.
Yeah, well, come on back. Come
Yeah,
on over. Yeah, that's good. I'm not sure what I'd go with. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna give anything. Just want to see British basketball going alive and well, and the community enjoying it. Because we enjoy it, and there's plenty lined up. Um, yeah, I'm back. I've had my break. That was needed. Without saying too much and going into all of that, that was needed a needed break. I'm back. It's been good to have you back, Egg. Um, hopefully we have Eli back as well soon, and the three of us can be back together, uh, even as a one-off show, because I'm sure everybody misses the good old. Three Stooges that talks a bunch of nonsense and then eventually gets in British basketball somewhere.
Actually, talk about basketball eventually. It's been great to be
Yeah.
back for a little while. I will be back intermittently. I'm still about on socials and I'm still about in the Discords talking British basketball and stuff. So I've not fallen off the face of the earth away from the community. I'm just, yeah,
Ah,
the
that's good.
commitments away from
And
content.
have you added any more to your 36 pairs of trainers?
No,
Or no? Okay, so we're still at a high number, but nothing more. So it's
no,
doable. It's yeah.
I have brought a couple more hats. I bought a DePaul Blue Demons hat because that's the team in college I've been watching a lot, but I've not bought any trainers. I might buy. I've seen a nice pair of orange and green low dunks, which are Raiders colours. So I might treat myself in the new year.
Okay, nice. That's good. Well, do you know what? Honestly, we could ramble and ask all sorts of random questions. We really, really could. And as much as that would be fun, we've all got evenings to get on with. So thank you very much for coming back. As always, I've been Ben. Egg has been Egg once again. Massive shout. This is another thing. I don't do the shout outs the same. Um, but massive shout out to British Hoops. Massive shout out to the Bristol Flyers for getting to the trophy final. Massive shout out to Caledonia Gladiators women for getting to the trophy final. Massive shout out to the NBL men's, women's. Shout out to basketball in the Southwest and Devon and Egg.
Shout out Plymouth Raiders
Shout out Plymouth Raiders, absolutely.
and shout out the DePaul Blue Demons. I know there are guys from the DePaul fan base who do watch these podcasts
Awesome.
and have taken a keen interest in British hoops because of yours truly. So shout out to the DePaul Blue Demons. Eight and
Massive
one
shout
coming
out.
this season when we beat Providence. Let's go Blue Demons.
Loads of teams to shout out. It's been great. It's been a pleasure. We will see you very soon. Have a good evening. Good night, all.